So, part two, quick look at Audius. So, it's a decentralized music streaming platform. Seems to be sort of pretty much the only sort of major player in this area. There's some sort of other smaller tokens, I think one of which the sort of platform seemed to have died. That was fairly big in sort of 2018, but didn't really take off. And one that is sort of in the very, very early stages, sort of rank 2,500. So this is rank 108. Yeah, and sort of I bought two lots of this in the sort of $2.60 range. So quite a bit down at the moment, but everything's down at the moment, and sort of nice to look at ones that have maybe been hit a little bit harder than others. So yeah, this is sort of what is it, $800 million market cap. Half the circulating supply is in existence of sort of 1.06 billion total supply. I think this, from the looks of it, this goes up about 7% a year, if I'm reading correctly. So sort of a little bit like a growth stock, a little bit sort of like a share dilution, really. But as with sort of growth stocks, you're expecting this to do sort of a multi-bagger, if you like. So yeah, if it goes up 2 or 3 times in a year or two, and you get diluted sort of 7%, then that's sort of par for the course, really. So yeah, this sort of started in the sort of early days about a year ago at sort of 10, 20, 30 cents, and sort of went up in the early this year bull run. Sort of had the summer lull like everything else, and sort of they made a partnership with TikTok sort of round about here. So you saw a sort of 100% gain really within a week. So that's pretty good, but that sort of died off a little bit. There's also been some investment in September, I was looking at, about $5 million from some sort of fairly big names, including Katy Perry, and I think I saw sort of, if not the Rolling Stones, a company affiliated with the Rolling Stones. And sort of then it's had its drop off during sort of December, pretty much like everything else. So at sort of $1.56, I thought it was a reasonable buy. So just sort of looking at the platform, this is their sort of public facing website, and sort of they've got sort of Deadmau5 and some other supposedly big names on board. I know Deadmau5, but don't really know a lot of these other sort of electronic artists. It's not really my sort of music. I don't mind a little bit of drum and bass, but not really into dubstep and that sort of thing. But that's what the whippersnappers like these days. So you got to get with the times. So they provide 320 kilobits per second audio, which is decent. I think Spotify is sort of a bit less, and Apple Music and them sort of people, unless you buy the HD, they do a super HD version, which is more money. But the average listener gets sort of, I think, either 256 kilobytes per second. So yeah, reasonable quality, and unlimited uploads and metrics and that sort of thing, free forever. They do say free forever, but really skeptical as to whether that would be free forever, but we'll see. You can download and sort of find remixes of various tracks. That's sort of very popular in electronic music. A lot of sort of remixes and sampling of other people's music and that sort of thing. So yeah, they sort of feature a few people there. and yeah, they do a lot of sort of podcasts and competitions and that sort of thing, sort of virtual festivals, and yeah, a lot of sort of, they don't just have it as a platform and then, you know, do whatever you want. They do sort of engage as a website, sort of very active Twitter, highlighting, you know, the latest popular artists, and yeah, quite sort of active as a company. And yeah, so this is the platform. So they have an app, as well as this, as well as the desktop site, similar to sort of Spotify. I think this is going to sort of obviously grow with time. I don't think it's quite the best app at the moment, or the best desktop site, but yeah. So you've got say Dead Mouse. So he's got a little check mark, I guess, to say it's the official page, and he's got some tracks on here. I guess one album that he's decided to put on here. Not a huge amount of engagement just yet, but yeah, it's sort of relatively young platform, and sort of having reasonable artists like this should hopefully push it forward. I think he sort of came out and said, as an artist, basically you have to be sort of on the cutting edge of whatever the industry is doing, and he sort of sees this as potentially the way forward, getting away from sort of the big labels, you know, Sony Music and Universal Music and that sort of thing. This is sort of more geared to owning your own music, and yeah, you owning the rights, doing whatever you want with it, distributing it. They're looking at sort of potentially splitting up tracks into NFTs, and sort of selling individual tracks. You know, you can own say 1,000th of somebody's track, and then you'll get royalties when it makes money in the future. I think that's obviously sort of maybe not something for this cycle. That would be something that grows with the industry, and potentially even competitors coming into the space. Obviously, if Audius do all that sort of in the next year or two, then you probably make a fortune investing in it. But you have to be aware of competition, and if there is that much of a sort of potential industry in it, then they're not going to be left alone to do it themselves. But yeah, interesting sort of potential. And a quick look at they sort of give you a dashboard of analytics and sort of stats. So they sort of say they got the total amount of, you can stake the token, and you sort of get rewarded for that. So the total amount staked would be sort of a reasonable metric of popularity of the platform. So 500 million circulating supply, there's 315 million staked, which is quite good. Essentially sort of locked up and illiquid for the time being. Unique users over time, sort of grown from nothing back in July to sort of 1.8 million users end of last year, and then sort of 3.5, getting up to sort of the mid fours. I sort of thought this may have been declining a little bit, because they do show sort of in the lead up to Christmas it's been declining, but then they also say 5.8 million users this month, so that would be a new peak. So yeah, interesting. I'll keep an eye on the graph next month and see what they post for unique users. But sort of plays has not been quite as good. Again, see what that brings sort of next month, if they are growing. But yeah, even if they're at sort of these recent numbers, the token's dropped significantly. So I think if you sort of take the market cap over divided by the amount of sort of unique users that they've got per month, you look at sort of $200 per user. And if you sort of take Spotify's market cap of sort of $45 billion divided by, I think they've got 170 million paid subscribers. So yeah, you're looking at sort of $260 per user. So it's not as if it's a sort of, overvalued bubble platform type token. It sort of seems to be in line with sort of competitors, and if they can grow their user base, then yeah, you would expect sort of the token value to go up. And if we end up with a sort of bullish crypto run in Q1, then it could sort of develop into a bubble and sort of go up multiple amounts. So just nice to know that it's sort of not in a horrendous bubble at the moment. And yeah, they show you genre wise, so it's not really a place for pop and rock type music. It is sort of electronic, hip hop, R&B, dubstep, electro, all that sort of thing. Soundtracks, not sure why they have soundtracks as one of the 5 sort of key genres, but yeah, maybe sort of scores of digital works, anime, and that sort of thing. So there's a bit of soundtrack stuff on there. But yeah, it's no sort of surprise that new platforms would embrace sort of people that are making music on their computer anyway. So yeah, interesting look at Audius, I thought. Reasonable buy, obviously a little bit risky, but if we like a bit of risk, then why not? So leave your thoughts in comments below, and like and subscribe. See you soon.